Good morning. This is Sara Sach with Posh Pooch Designs, and I'm so glad that you're here and that we figured out that little speaker problem. Anyway, I'm so excited today. I've got my, like I said, I've got new lights up. I've got my new computer going. I've got my new wireless mic, and I hope that we're going to have some really new, great videos. I want to show you something real quick. Now, what I'm using right now is my front-facing camera. So I also have a top camera. And this is so cool because I'll be able to show you things in the right direction so that you can see close up what's going on. Now, this camera is not zoomed in yet. I haven't got the cord, not the cord, but the bar to get that set up. But I did want to show you this because I'm very excited about this. This is going to make a lot of my videos a lot better. The next thing I want to show you is what I call my roaming camera. And this is set up on my mannequin behind me. And that's my new autumn. It's called the Autumn Chill Wrap Shawl. It's a new pattern coming out, and it's going to be one of the first videos that I'm going to do using my new system. So I'm real excited about that. And then when you first tuned in, you probably saw this picture. And because it takes a few minutes to get things set up, my hubby made this picture for me so that you'd know the video is getting ready to start. But it takes a few seconds for everything to start up. And so then I post that. So anyway, that's the new system. I'm real excited about it, and I'm really happy. And what we're going to be doing is from now through December, I have a whole lot of patterns planned and a lot of videos as well. And so we're going to be doing that through the first of the year, just doing some new stuff. And then the first of the year, I'm going to be doing what I'm going to call a relaunch of my YouTube channel. So I'm really excited about that. I've got a whole new year-long crochet along in my brain and lots of fun stuff that we're going to be doing. So I thought I would just start off the video with that. I'm so glad we fixed the speaker issue. I was so worried about that. Okay, so today's topic, the first thing we need to do is clink in. And just so you know, I still have not found my Posh Pooch Designs cup. My hubby and I cleaned out my whole yarn room. I even went through my closet with all my, more yarn. And it's nowhere to be found, and I'm so afraid that somehow I have lost it. So I may just have to order another one. We'll see. Now I'm trying to glance over and look at all of your comments. I'm so glad it's set up this way. I can see all your comments. Good morning to all of you. I'm so glad you're all here today. This, like I said, this is the first time using this setup, and so I practiced a couple of times. And if you all were around on Sunday evening, I did a silly little practice video just to see how things would play out and stuff. And I really love the lighting is so much brighter, and although I did have to put on a little more makeup today. Because I don't have natural beauty. I did find, this is totally off subject, but there is a lady on YouTube, and I can't think of what her name is, but she does makeup for women who are over 50 and how not to overdo your makeup, but have your makeup work for you. And I'm going to have to find that so that you all can see it. All right, so let's talk about our subject today. And today's subject is, have you lost your Crojo? Now, what your Crojo is your ability to love yarn, your ability to crochet, your just total love of crochet. And sometimes we lose that. And I've had moments in these, see, October I think is going to be my 9th year of doing Posh Pooch Designs. And I've had moments of where I've lost my Crojo as well. It can be you just get bored. You get frustrated. Sometimes you get an illness or maybe a family tragedy or something, or you just are sick of it. And so we lose that Crojo. And so I come up with some thoughts in order to help us get our Crojo back. Okay? So the first thought is, My love of crocheting starts with a love of yarn. This is a new item I'm going to show you in a little bit. But anyway, it all starts with our love of yarn. So this is what I do. When I begin to feel like I don't love crocheting anymore and don't love, you know, the yarn, or I'm sick of looking at crochet hooks, I go into my local store and I either go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Joann's, or I try to find a new store that I haven't been to that carries yarn, and I walk into the yarn aisle and I look down those aisles and I see all that yarn, and I love that. I love seeing all the weights all put together, the thick to the thin, all the colors that I can choose from. And I go up to it and I don't just look at it. I pick it up and I squeeze it. I give it a good squeeze. I smell it. And then my brain starts going, what can I make with that? And so it just gets my creative juices growing again. Going and growing too. This is something I'm going to show you a little later. But anyway, it does get my creative juices flowing again. And because yarn is kind of the basis or the bottom line to our love for crochet. Okay, the next thing is that I find my crochet spot. And I have a couple of places that I like to just go. I take my cup of coffee, my crochet hook, and maybe my favorite yarn. And I don't really have any pattern or design in mind. I just go there and I sit. And sometimes I'll pull up Pinterest or Ravelry. And don't just look at the patterns on Ravelry. Go to the projects. Because in those projects, you can see all the things that people have tried and whether they like them or not. And just get some, again, to get your creative juices flowing. Because we love yarn and we love patterns and we love to see what other people are making. I know I do. Getting a little scratchy. Hang on 2 seconds. Did you clink in? Okay, so first of all, we go and we love on our yarn. Then the second thing we do is we go find our spot. I have 2 spots that are my favorites. Of course, my yarn room. And then I also love to sit out on my back deck because I do get the privilege of looking out at Pikes Peak. And I have a little fire pit, so if it's a little bit cool, I can turn that on. Which reminds me, I need to get some the oil for that, or the gas, I mean. Okay, so we find our crochet spot and we have our yarn. The next thing that you can do, and these are 2 things that are not about you, but about others on our next 2 list. So the next thing that you can do is look through your own yarn stash. I have a lot back here I haven't used in a while. There's lots of great colors. And there's lots of things that you can do with maybe your leftovers to make things for other people. Sometimes you can throw together some of your leftover yarns and make maybe mats to put at dog rescues, because you know a lot of the dog rescues, they're just on cement floors, so they're easily cleaned. And sometimes it's nice to have a little blanket or mat or just a little, you know, square pad like that pattern that I have that you can donate to the rescues. And then when someone rescues a puppy, they can take that mat with them. And that dog has their scent on it when they go to the new home. Another thing you can do, of course, is the little preemie hats for babies in hospitals. Just check each hospital's rules and regulations on that. Because some of them are particular about certain yarns. I mean, like a lot of them don't really want you to use wool because newborn babies can be sensitive to wool and things like that that are the real wool. So, but there are lots of things that you can do to reach out to others. And maybe you're looking, you know, at your big yarn stash, or I have a big basket of yarn balls, and I think, what am I going to do with all this yarn? Well, you can make hats for the homeless. And one thing that I think is really neat that my town does here in Parker is they make up a bunch of scarves, and they put those little papers on them that says, "This is not lost, this is for you." And they go and they put them all around, like we have a lot of those neat statues of the people who founded Parker, and just some other statues around. And they'll just wrap 2 or 3 around there and put that little thing on there. And it's a gift for someone who maybe doesn't have a scarf or maybe forgot one that day. I do prefer making cowls myself because I have a tendency to lose scarves, and so I'll make cowls, and then I can hang them on the fence, and then people can just take them, and you put the little card on there that says this is for you. And that's something else that you can do with your leftovers. Okay, so the last thing that you can do to kind of help you get your Crojo back is just donate your unused yarn. And you know, I have a couple of friends who maybe don't have a lot of money and maybe want to do some things, learn some crochet, but they just don't have a lot of money to go out and buy all the new yarns. And so what I'll do is I'll go through my stash of yarn, and I'll just, sometimes it's a whole grocery bag full of just yarns I haven't used in a year or so, and I'll give those to my friends that maybe just cannot afford it. And you can also donate it to nursing homes and also to the senior care facilities and things like that, because a lot of the seniors love to knit and love to crochet, and it's a way for them to make something like for their grandkids and things, and also to keep them busy. And it's also been a proven fact that if you continue to crochet and knit and do crafts through your senior years, that it keeps your mind going, and it helps stave off some of those mental illnesses that plague us as we get older. And that's something else that you can do. And so what I tried to do here in my list is find a couple of things about me, yarn, my space. And then I tried to find a couple of things where I could reach out to others. Because I think sometimes, me personally, when I start getting depressed, you know, I was having a little bit of struggle going through my surgeries, and then my precious sister passed, and just trying to cope with a new normal. That sometimes it helps us to get our mind off of ourselves. It's not that our issues aren't important, they are. But it also helps us get our mind off ourselves and reach out to others and help us remember that we're not the only ones going through rough times. Everybody has a story, and everybody has something going on. And so that's our talk today. So when somebody says, what is Crojo? You know what it is now. Our Crojo is what drives us to love crochet. And when we lose that love, I don't know about you all, but I can become depressed. And so I work really hard not to lose my Crojo. All right, so that is our chat for today. Now I want to show you some fun things. I was in the store, actually I was just in Walmart, and I was picking up this yarn. And if you can guess what I'm going to do for Halloween, but I'm going to, and I'm doing it in a chunky style, and I'm going to put a pattern and do a video out there for you in case you want to do one also. But I'm not going to say what it is yet. Well, I was in there picking up that yarn, and I had a question the other day. This woman was, or lady, was crocheting so tightly she was wearing a line in her finger. And she's like, how do I stop doing that? And I thought, well, all I can tell you is just try to loosen up a little bit. I'm a very loose knitter. We've talked about how I'm a loose hooker. And so I don't really get that there. Now, I do get wrist issues because I'm more tense in my wrists. But I do not get that line. Well, I'm walking through Walmart, and I just happened to glance over. And I saw this thing. And I'm actually going to try to bring down so you can see it closer in my top camera. All right, so I found this thing, and you put it on your finger, and then you slip your yarns through. And it comes with a couple of different yarn weight things. And I thought, what a neat thing that is. And I know my camera's not set exactly right. We're still working on that, but I wanted to show that to you because you can put 3 threads of yarn through there when you're changing colors, and I think that's a really super neat thing. And so I'm going to grab this here so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to tell you, I think I spent $250, $239 on this thing, and I'm going to give it a try. And I'm thinking about doing just a little video on it just to see how it's going to work for you, because I think it's a really neat thing. All right, so I found that, and then I also came across these. Now, these are back-to-school scissors. These were $1.50, and they're perfect to throw in your stash of yarn bags or anywhere you go and take your yarn with you. They have them in left-handed and right-handed, and they got really cute little handles on them. And I always grab a few at the beginning of the school year when they put all their school stuff on sale, because I lose scissors terribly. And these are so cheap. They're sharp enough to cut yarn, and you can put one in every one of your yarn bags. So that's something. Two things I always have in my yarn bag besides my crochet and my yarn is my scissors and my tape measure. So anyway, now last week when we first started moving over to the new program of how I'm doing my videos, I did 2 different videos just to kind of test it out. And one of them is this, I turned my head the wrong way. There it is, leaf. And it's just a fall leaf that you can make into a brooch if you want to by adding the brooch pin. I did that video. And then I also did a video of the little washcloths that are shaped like a dog paw. It was so funny. I had so many people ask me, what do you do with that? I don't get it. And it works great. You can even use it on your own eyes to get around the corners like this. Maximo is a white dog, and he gets those tear stains under his eyes. And so every month when I give him his bath, I add just a little dab of the Blue Dawn dish soap into some water, in some warm water, and I swish it up. And then I put this in there and I wipe those eyes, and his eyes become clean. I love using the Blue Dawn Classic, and it takes a teeny tiny bit because that's what they use when they clean the geese and the ducks and the animals that get in those oil spills. And it cleans up really nice, and it's not harsh on their skin or their fur at all. But check with your veterinarian in case your dog has any extra issues. These are also perfect to put on as appliques. So, and that's a video that I did last week. Now I'm wearing this chunky headband. It's made pretty similar to the one we did, the new pattern I did last week, that is the Loveland Headband. I just did this in a chunky yarn. And you can do it in a chunky yarn. Turns out great, makes it a little bit thicker. And then I just added the little leaf and this cute little button. So let me click over to my roaming camera so you can see the new wrap shawl. Now I'm going to do this video. The pattern's already out there, and I'm going to do this video hopefully this next week. I'm waiting on the arm to come in for my 3rd camera so that I can properly set up my top camera so that you'll be able to see it. But that's another thing that's going on this week is I'm going to begin doing some new videos with my new setup. And one thing I really ask of you is I'm learning a lot. And this last year was our first year of doing videos, and I really learned a lot. I got a lot of harsh criticism. Some of it really hurt my feelings, but I learned, and I'm learning a lot. I have a lot to learn. I have not arrived. Even when it comes to crochet, I still learn stuff all the time because I love to learn new things. And so any of my videos that I do, they're to help you learn also. When we originally started the YouTube channel, it was just for fun and to maybe pass on some of the things that I learned along the way. Because to be honest with you, I learned to crochet when I was about 15 from library books. And I just learned and found new ways to do things. And some of my ways of doing things aren't exactly what you would call the norm. But I still want to pass on some of those little tricks and things that I do. And sometimes they'll help you and sometimes they won't. And I don't mind people telling me, you know, and asking me questions and things like that, because we cannot learn if we don't ask questions. So today I just want to thank you for being with me. This was our first test run of the new equipment. And I just love that you've all clicked in. I love all your comments. And so before we go, I just want to give you one last clink and tell you thank you for being with me today. And I'll see you next Tuesday.